have many things to do, I'm sure. And of course, as usual, because of my complete incompetence with technology, I know there's an agenda, but I don't have it in front of me. But I believe we're doing something a bit special first. Correct, Tammy?
Yes, you're doing your thing. Yes,
Right.
that's right.
Doing my thing.
Doing your thing.
Yes. Well, actually, it's our thing. As you all know,
We're not on mute.
our good friend, Rob Warman has passed away. And he had an incredible history with this committee, with this community, with council, with so many different projects. And I thought it would be important for us to not only acknowledge that, but perhaps to take a moment to perhaps say a few words about the individual that we've all worked with, some of us for decades, others for a much shorter period of time. So the thought I had was to give people an opportunity. And since Jean-Maurice, you're now the senator of this, the senior member of the committee, I thought I might give you the opportunity, since I know that you and Rob were so close for so many years, in particular, starting this Wybrook partnership.
Well, thank you, Dave. And let me just say how sorry I am for our loss, because many people on this committee were a good friend to Rob and Alice, and he was a good friend to us. And I watched this afternoon at about 2:15 on the parliamentary channel, which is something I never watch. And I had tuned in early, and I swore that I wouldn't go back to it unless there was another such announcement. But John Brassard spoke very highly and very well about Rob and Rob's contribution to the city and his accomplishments. It was a very moving tribute, and I noticed that a number of people surrounding him leapt to their feet to applaud and to pay tribute to him. So they got in mention of his service with the Royal Canadian Air Force, with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and his work as a city alderman, a councillor, and and a friend to the city. And I don't know if I'm going to get this right, but I once read that the true measure of a gentleman is how he treats someone who couldn't possibly be of any use or any benefit to him. And I think that's a true measure of Rob Warman. He treated people, everyone, with respect and kindness, and was there for all sorts of people who were less fortunate than he was. So I think I can safely say we're really going to miss him. And I want to tell you just how sorry I am for our loss.
Thank you very much, Jean-Maurice.
Thank you.
Bill, you were also heavily involved with working with him.
I was, Dave. Yeah, thank you very much. You know, Rob was a very special individual. He was one of the first people I met when I arrived in Barrie in 1998, and him and Alice occupied the rear pews at St. George's Anglican Church. And the reason he did that was that he was always 2 minutes late for the service. And it just invariably, you know, you'd be into the opening prayers and you'd hear a set of footsteps come in. You didn't have to turn around and look. It was going to be Rob. But Rob was always there, as Jean-Maurice said, for the little people. He was there to get things done. And Janice Lakeen, you know, her quote in the newspaper, Rob always liked to be in charge. Well, I don't know if he always liked to be in charge, but he always seemed to be in charge, whether it was the German Twinning, the Sir Robert Barrie, the 16 Wing Fellowship, the Veterans Club. He was always there to guide the activities of all these organizations of which he was a member. He was never one to stand by. And what I will miss most about Rob is going to Tiff's for lunch and having a Creemore with him. Rob couldn't tolerate wine, but he loved his beer, and I will certainly miss that aspect of Rob. Yeah. So may he rest in peace.
Thanks, Bill. He certainly loved his Tiffs.
Yeah.
Barry?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. As
as Dave knows, my first term on Barrie Council coincided with Rob's last term and Dave's last term, as a matter of fact. So
Yep.
I think I was, because of that, I was quoted in the media as the last surviving council member from the council. And I have to think back. I think Rob was probably my age when I was thinking. That was amazing how people seem so old back then and now seem like I'm one of them. But anyways, what I said in there is absolutely right. I mean, the thing about Rob is he was always smiling. Every time if I close my mind, I could see him walking towards me with a smile on his face. And very first thing he always asked was, "How's Marge? How are the boys?" Like he always asked about that, which is quite amazing. And as I said, he didn't say it because that's a polite thing to do. He actually waited to hear your answer. He wanted to hear what they were up to. So, on a personal level, he was a remarkable person. And I kind of worry that that's a kind of politician that may be evaporating in Canada. I think he was welcoming of all opinions and all sides. And I was kind of thinking about that after he passed, because some of the stuff in his, when they were talking about how he was involved in the Progressive Conservative Party. And I think it was a different political world back then, because I'm afraid that kind of thing of people reaching out, Rob would be the kind that wouldn't judge somebody by what political party they were in. He just wanted to see if they, what kind of person they were. So a great person. He'll be missed.
Absolutely. Thank you. Is there any other member of the committee that wants to say anything at this point?
Maury, I just want to say we had the gardeners and Lalondes and us. We had the pleasure to do a trip to Cuba with the Warmans, and they were certainly the elder statespeople on the trip, but invaluable information, especially knocking down when we'd go to a lecture about the political system. Rob would be right in there, and it was amazing, his insight and bringing everybody kind of back to an even keel. So I'm just glad now, Dave, in retrospect, that we got to share the Warmans on that trip.
And that's a nice lead in, Mark, to the fact that Rob and I built a beautiful friendship over a period of time. And I mean, when you're on council, you don't necessarily always agree on every issue. And he and I had some battle royals in council, of which I'll not bore you or anyone that's watching with, but we were always able to see through that. And I mean, I made a joke earlier about tips. The truth was, I don't know what the current council is like, Barrie, but in my day and Rob's day, it was the standard operating procedure was after we were done council was to go grab last call at TIFs. And not everybody came, but probably the majority of council did. And yes, Tammy, that's probably against the rules in today's province, but and it was always a good time. And it was especially important when you had a battle. All right. And it was, Rob kind of took it upon himself to make sure that the people who, as best he could, the people who had been arguing the most vehemently on opposing sides came with us. And the reason I said that it was, that Mark's was a nice segue is that one of the things I discovered is that Rob had an incredible ability to be supportive. He supported Youth Ambassadors from its outset. He supported Global from its outset. When he learned that I had retired and started this company, he and Alice were amongst, well, in fact, they were in the very first adult group that went to Cuba, as Mark mentioned. He and Alice were keen to not just enthusiastically support, but they were endlessly curious. They wanted to see how things were going. I remember on several occasions when we were in Cuba, he was involved in long translated conversations with our Cuban leader as he attempted to understand things that were, to his perspective and from all of our perspectives, radically different. So that desire to learn, that desire to be encouraging and supportive and engaged, it just defines Rob. And I've already done a write-up that I sent out to you people earlier. I have a million stories that I can share. And if COVID weren't here and if we were somewhere in Barrie where we could go have a beer, tonight would have been the night when I'd said we should all be going from a live meeting to a live drinking session at TIFs, which still exists, although not in its premier location. However, we shall adjourn that concept for another time, but I'm sure none of us will forget about it. At any rate, he did a wonderful service for this community in so many things, and most especially on this, for us, in this committee. So I'd like to thank both of you for your comments. Is there anyone else that would like to add something to this before we move on? Don't feel the, okay, that's great. So having said that, Tammy, I think we're into our usual routine, are we not?
Yes, and the first item tech is the website. The website update. I didn't know if you had anything on that.
No, actually, I do. So I'm not entirely sure of the exact date yet because it's sort of between the mayor's office and the clerk's office. They're sorting through some dates, but the plan is to do it'll be Zoom, but it'll be a web presentation launch at council in March. And probably it has to be the first 2 weeks of March. They understand that there are some of us that are some of the people on this committee, including myself, that are desperately holding out faith with crossed fingers that we'll actually be out of the country for the end of March. So now exactly when that date is, obviously we'll have lots of time in advance. My thought is to make the presentation by inviting Kieran to walk them through the setup process. And then I'd say a few words and then depending on how much time we have, maybe leave it at that, or maybe turn it over to the different section heads to talk about how they had pulled together their specific sister city information. I'm not sure how much detail we want to get into at that point. I mean, and as with all things, we need to be cognizant of the fact that there's only so much time. So, but that is definitely the plan. All right. And I don't know whether you've had a chance to do it. I believe you've all been emailed. There's 2 access points. And I really want to thank John Mastrioni for doing this. I know we were all concerned that the original URL was youthambassadors.barrie.ca, but this is now expanded far beyond that. So we wanted to reflect the fact that, I mean, we didn't want to totally screw up the promotional aspect of Youth Ambassadors or of Global by creating a new URL, but we also wanted to be respectful of all the other partnerships that are of equal importance to all of this. So there are 2, you all have links that were emailed to you. One is still youthambassadors.barrie.ca. The other one is, I believe, internationalpartnerships.barrie.ca, or maybe internationalpartners.barrie.ca. I don't have it in front of me, but both lead to the same place. And so far, there don't seem to be any major bugs, and I haven't heard any major complaints. Yes, Barrie, we are still working on fixing your name, but we will get to it, I promise.
So Dave, is that the final address to get in, or is that subject to change yet?
No, as I understand it, we're done. We're up, we're live. Those are the ones. The links
Okay.
that we gave you that were the test sites, you should probably
Yep.
delete them so that you don't get confused. The one that was sent out, the most recent one that included both of those links, those are the real links, and it's up and running right now. So much so that I've already passed that on, because in case you didn't know this, Global Perspectives, and obviously Jamie will talk about this in a bit, but they're already recruiting and their deadline is February 19th. So we had to make it, get it up and going so that they could utilize it if they chose to. At the moment, they're using the board info, which is what it is. So
Okay.
but it's up there right now. And any other
Perfect.
questions about that? All right, great. Next,
Any budget update?
is there?
Don't know. Did you have anything to?
I have nothing. I mean, Barry's already told us we have the same budget as last year, which we'll probably not spend because it would be a godsend if we could, but I'm not confident that much of this is going to go on this year. I mean,
Dave, is this where I would ask about the quoting for the bookmarks? So we had suggested
No,
taking
save it for Youth Ambassador.
Okay, because that wasn't just youth, it was all of them, right? So I wasn't sure.
Yeah, this is just about how much
Yeah.
money is there. You can bring it up when you talk about youth. I mean, it involves everybody. I understand that, but
Okay.
but we'll deal with it then. All right. Anything else? Okay, next.
Murayama, Japan.
Yes, so we do have some updates.
Oh, cool.
About 4:30 last evening, in the morning, in the night, we have a contact in Murayama. So, which is pretty exciting. And I know I sent Hiromi and Gardner's when I sent them the website so that you'll see the contact, then I'll follow up. But they are very much interested in getting things going for 2022.
For this
and-
coming summer?
Yeah, So I replied to him and I basically said, we have to discuss this as a committee because we're not sure what our travel, like, we're not sure if students can travel at this point.
Well,
And
students
then-
don't matter. It's not a school thing, but
No,
my
I
concern is
understand.
I thought Japan's borders were closed.
Well, apparently they're open and they would like to discuss. And I think further to that, I think they want to also send their adult delegation to Barrie when we send our kids over there. So stay posted and we'll all get involved. And
Cool.
yeah, it's wonderful because I was getting no comments from Daniel. And then finally, I was talking to Daniel on the phone, and I said, Daniel, you got to help us here because I'm, like Mr. Asso isn't replying, and I don't even know if he's still in the government. Well, that's his name, so you know that.
Uh-huh,
Yes.
got
But anyhow, then Dan got in there and dug in, and he got us. So I sent off an email, and it didn't get returned from the guy I'd sent it to, but this guy obviously transferred over to somebody in the city of Mariama. And he's, oh yeah, we want to get this going. And yeah, we're going to put budget monies together and on and on and on. So from nothing to overnight activity, it's wonderful.
Perfect. If I might, Hiromi, if I can ask you, I don't know whether you're still in Japan or whether you're back in Canada, but you've been.
Hiromi, you're on mute. Yeah.
What's the situation in Japan, as your knowledge at this point?
Hiromi, you're on mute.
Can
There
you
we
hear
go.
me now?
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
it is not great at all, just like you guys. Numbers are growing and the school is closing. But we are talking about this summer, right? I know
Yes.
they are hopeful. And as long as they are Japanese, they can come back into Japan and they can go to anywhere we accept them. So
Okay.
we don't know. They just reduced.
So, okay, we can talk about this as we go.
Yeah, 7 days quarantine still there,
Right.
but we are talking about this summer. So let's hope.
Okay. All right, we'll put that aside. It's great information, Mark, and it's exciting to have that possibility.
Oh, very much so. You have no idea how it made my morning.
And
I
Mark,
open up.
Mark,
Yes,
if you could copy me any correspondences,
yeah, I will.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I will for sure. And because I even have a phone number and everything.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I can communicate with Mr. Asso directly.
Okay, okay. But anyhow, I'll send it to you tomorrow morning.
Okay.
It all came and I had to digest it, and I wanted to make sure Shannon knew that she might get very busy very quick too. But
And
this is
Mark-
exciting for us. This is very exciting news for so much silence over the last little while. So
It is exciting.
Yeah.
Just for future reference, Mark, please include me as chair on all communications. I mean,
Okay.
I'm going to be engaged with it, but I should have it for my files. Okay.
yep, and the rest of our team. Yep, for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. Of course. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, good. That's good news. Who's up
Yep.
next? Tammy?
Youth ambassadors.
Well, I'm going to turn to Shannon in just a second, but it sounds like Mark just gave much of that report.
Yeah.
Neither Shannon or I knew anything about it. However,
I did. I was lucky enough to have the call when Mark was so excited to tell me
Oh,
all
cool.
about it. So I got excited as well. So that was really, really great. And we did look into the bookmarks as well. Using the templates, I spoke with the city and I received a quote. So I asked for a quote on 500 bookmarks, 1,000 bookmarks, and 2,000 bookmarks. And the quote was $102 for 2,000 bookmarks. So I just wasn't sure I know bookmarks have been done in the past. I wasn't sure the quantity that have been purchased in the past. These will be the laminated ones. And so I thought that was a great quote, wonderful pricing around that.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know historically, how many have we purchased in the past or created, and then where have we distributed them from? Because I believe the libraries would be an excellent resource for this. And so that's my first question. Do we have any data on how many we've purchased in the past for an event?
so I want you to back up a step because not everybody that's on the meeting today was at the last meeting.
Mm.
So maybe you can give us 2 sentences on what we're talking about. What bookmarks?
So the flags were sent out, the flags that will be put up.
Yeah.
Mark, I know you put where they're going to be. I don't have it in front of me because I'm on the road right now. But when I saw the image of them, there's 8 of them depicting our relations with different communities, and they're beautiful. And I think that that would be a great idea to, especially with the new website, to have these images turned into bookmarks with our new website information on the back, so that we can start communicating and sharing with the public some of the work that we do and celebrating some of the work that we do.
Okay. Is it all the pictures or just the one with the 4 flags?
I was thinking we can do, and it was approved, like that it can be done that way based on the sheets. We could do all 8 and have a variety of them out there.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
I don't remember us getting that specific, but that's okay.
We didn't, I asked, no, I meant like from the city, they don't mind printing all 8, like they can do it that way with their sheeting.
Bill or JM, when you did the Sir Robert Barry bookmarks, how many did you do? Do you remember?
Oh, goodness. I want to say it was about 200.
Okay,
And I don't know what the prices are. I've got them in the minutes of the Sir Robert Barry meetings, but yeah, we did 200. And we've left a pile at City Hall so
Yeah.
that as tours come through, they can hand them out to the students there.
so I think $102 for 2,000. I mean,
Yeah,
Can
that's a
get
great
the-
price.
oh my God, laminate?
And that,
Yes.
yeah, and that might be something we can leave with the students too on the exchanges.
Okay, Rob?
There's the Sir Robert Barry bookmarks
Yeah,
that we did.
gorgeous.
Oh,
So, like I
beautiful.
say, the
Perfect.
paintings, Sir Robert Barry, and the display case. So
Perfect. No, it looks great. Mr.
Yeah.
Gardner, you look like you wanted our attention.
Yeah, this is what we do, right? My company. So I was just wondering, and I have contacts. So I was just wondering, who are we getting them done by?
The city,
The
the city printing. yeah.
Oh, okay. Just curious if you can just throw an email my way if you want to sit there and have me try and price it out. We deal in business to business, and a lot of them is promotional companies. So this is what they sort of do. So I don't, to Mark's point, I don't know if we're going to be able to get any better than, would you say 1,000 for 100?
2,000.
2,000.
Oh, even better. So I'm just curious. But just throwing it out there. If you want me to throw it out to my contacts, I can do that too.
Sure, why not? Doesn't hurt. I
Yeah.
mean,
Just that,
I'm
you know,
not, I'm
get
sure
another
the
quote.
city's not looking for work. All right. So sure, it doesn't hurt to
Yeah.
have another quote. Absolutely.
That's
All right, that's
outstanding.
great. Right, that sounds like great news. So by the way, I'm not hearing anything from anybody else. So do you like the idea of doing all the banners, not just the flag one?
Yeah,
Okay, if everybody likes that,
Mhm.
that's cool.
The other option that I was thinking is we could maybe see if we can just get a retweak on the image of the flag one and have the website added to that, and that could be the back image of the
Yeah.
Bookmark. That was the
Okay,
other
so
thought.
flag one with the web information goes on the back, and the front one could be the specifics of whatever city we're partnered with.
Yeah. So
Cool.
there are some
Uh,
ideas around there, but yeah, I'm not sure where or when we would hash that out, Maury, Dave.
Yeah,
So if you,
Part of the design, I'd like to include global and youth ambassadors in that somewhere.
Mhm.
I'm not sure how or not sure where, but we can work on that. I just think it's important to include all of what we're doing in that operation, but we can work that out. Great.
Okay.
Sounds like there's a whole lot more going on than I thought. Was
yeah,
going.
it's wonderful.
All right, what's next, Tammy?
German twinning.
So
John?
German twinning, Stephanie Neumüller, who worked for the city of Zweibrücken, retired officially at the end of the year. So she's no longer employed by the city, but she continues to be the president of the German Canadian Club in Zweibrücken and is working on the itinerary for the visit in May for the 25th anniversary. Last week, I had a phone call from Christina Brunner, who works for the city, and she's the office that's responsible for all twinnings for Zweibrücken. She had been meeting with the Lord Mayor, Meryl Wosnitza, and they're still planning on holding ceremonies in May and on the 7th of May. So there'll be a city component and the German Canadian Club component. They are quite convinced that by the middle of February, things should open up completely. But of course, the caveat is don't book anything until they're convinced. So we'll wait and see by the middle of February. But by all indication, they seem to to be convinced that the numbers are coming down in a dramatic way and that they'll be free and open. Stephanie asked me to facilitate a donation to Barrie Hospice from the German Canadian Club
Nice.
of Zweibrücken in memory of Rob Warman. So I have that on my plate, and I thought that was quite a nice gesture by them. Christina told me that both she and the Lord Mayor had written expressions of sympathy from the city to Alice and family. So yeah, Rob was highly respected there and much loved, and was a real ambassador. So they were all moved by that news, and but they've taken measures to write and express their sympathies. The Germans are still planning on coming to Canada in September. Between the 4th and the 11th would be the official delegation. There would be a tourist group attached to that, the majority of which would be put up in a local hotel. They would be arriving with the official group on the 4th, but staying on until the 14th. So I'm working on the itinerary with them for that. The German Canadian Club, we continue to pay our taxes to Revenue Canada and make our returns, but we don't. We haven't been very active. We had planned a couple of events, and each time we've had to at the last minute cancel because of the measures imposed by the province, and of course the aging population in the German Canadian Club. Even though it might have been safe at one point to get together, I think most of those people are spooked by the idea of coming out in public. They're much older. They have many more pre-existing conditions. So I'm not sure how we're going to fare this year. We'll wait and see. The club is still around. I'm still the president. I still do the newsletter, and I make sure our taxes get paid. And that's all I have for an update.
Great. Thank you very much, Jean-Maurice.
Thank you.
Next,
Harrogate.
Bill, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Just want to say that we've been surprisingly busy, via email and whatnot. I was just going to ask Rick and Lou if they had any more on the rugby side of the house, and then I'll continue with the rest of the news.
Bill, we still have yet to hear back from Tom Ryder, who's the head of the athletic department at Harrogate. And then in the interim, the president of the Barrie Rugby Club, who wanted to be involved in the Zoom meeting, took a vacation. So he's back home in Barrie now. And so I will spur it up again.
All right. Thanks,
and
Lou.
try to get Tom to commit.
Okay, good.
Great.
I've been in
Lou,
touch.
can you try and get the parrot to make a sound in the background, or is it just the birds?
No parrots. No parrots. Just birds.
Next,
So,
moving
sorry.
along, Bill,
Yeah.
please continue.
Basically, the other three potential exchanges that we've got are with Air Cadets, with the Scouts, and with St. John Ambulance, the medical first responders. Michael Newby, the former mayor of Harrogate, has facilitated these connections, and it would be, great to see something blossom out of these particular ones. They wouldn't be large exchanges with any one of them, but for the Scouts, they're doing a lot of stuff online, international jamborees online, and we have a contact here in the city of Barrie who's expressed an interest. So I think that has probably more potential. Like I say, it won't cost us any money as long as it's virtual at this point, but it could blossom in the future to in-person exchanges once we settle down.
Great.
And that's basically what I've got on that side of the house.
Perfect. All right, thank you. And next,
Arras, France.
okay, this is short. I have nothing. Next. I'm sorry, I don't. It's just, to be fair, we never started this one. COVID happened almost like literally almost within
Simultaneous.
weeks
Yeah,
of when we
same.
started trying to plan something. So, you know, at any rate, it is what it is.
So the next is Sir Robert Berry project.
What, well, we haven't done youth ambassadors or global yet. Where's that on the list?
We did youth ambassadors.
We didn't do global.
Okay, so let's go back to youth ambassadors. Put the global in there.
Jamie, you have not been
Patiently.
forgotten, even though it
That's all
appeared that
good.
way.
It's all good. As David said, we're accepting applications. The date is actually February the 18th, not the 19th. It's a Friday. And so if you know a grade 10 student in the city of Barrie or region, send them, tell them to go to one of the links Maury has mentioned and apply to Global Perspectives or check it out. If they have questions, they can contact myself or Jeff Toole, the head teacher in charge of it, or Mr. Morrison.
And thanks. And in fact, don't forget that in addition to the application form, thanks to John Mastrioni, both the application form and the brochure are up on our website in that section that says application process. So when they go to global application process, it's right there. They can click to it, download it, and they're good to go. So, and I also know it's available through what you've done at Innisdale with the, I don't know whether it's the Innisdale site or the board site, but I did see some links in something that Jeff posted on Instagram or something last week at some point. So cool. Any sense from the board that anyone may ever be able to do anything ever again? Right.
Nothing yet.
Okay.
Nothing yet.
All right. Now, Sir Robert Berry.
All right, Sir Robert Berry. Well, unfortunately, we've lost the chairman of the committee with Rob's passing. And, you know, he's great at directing. And I know Jean-Maurice and I jumped up and saluted every time Rob said something, but it was always, you know, Jean-Maurice's brilliant ideas within the committee. And Rob would be the first one to say, Bill, make it happen. And oh, by the way, Jean-Maurice, help him out. So, you know, we've been very, very active that way. But one of the things that we have on right now is the pennant that actually flew on His Majesty's Canadian ship, Berry, during the Second World War. That was presented to the mayor by a Canadian Army Veterans Motorcycle Club from London, Ontario, back in September. And we have waited this long to try and get an appointment with the McLaren Art Center to get it framed. And then we would hang the framed pennant in the rotunda above the model. So that's what we're waiting on, is for Petra Hewson to get back to us, and we'll make an appointment with her to go in when we can to select the framing materials. What we want to do is be able to have it framed such that we can open up the back of the picture and take out the pennant to fly on special occasions, you know, such as the Battle of the Atlantic, so on the 5th of May. So that's where we sit on that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Sounds
What
exciting.
about Sir Robert Berry Day? Is that happening?
Well, I would like to confirm with Councillor Ward that it still will take place on the 7th of June. I take it wasn't just going to be a one-time event.
Yeah, probably contact the mayor's office and just to remind them if we want. I think we're doing flag raisings again. And I believe last year we raised the flag of Harrogate, correct?
Yes.
And had it declared at city council. So we can do that.
All right.
If you send me the information, I can request it. But
All right.
yeah, that should be gone through. You go to the mayor's office. They do all of that.
Yeah.
I'll make that happen then, Barry. Thanks.
And then
When do
send
we,
out a notice so that we can all attend. That would be great
Yeah.
for the committee to show support of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Last time
Yeah.
it was limited, I think, to 10 people or something.
Yeah, yeah.
When are the banners going up? The flags?
After Easter.
Yeah, it'd be kind of a nice tie-in, actually. We could talk about those too. But anyways, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Anything further?
I just want to make
Nope.
sure that Lou and Rick are well informed. I just got notification on my phone that there is a special weather alert for Barrie. There is a multi-day snow event expected starting tonight, lasting till Friday, with up to 20 centimeters of snow and freezing rain. So I know how much you're missing that, and I just wanted to make sure you knew.
Yeah.
Tina, well, this just goes to the whole committee.
Yeah.
Anybody wants out of Dodge, we have 5 bedrooms in this old house here. And you are welcome. You just have to get yourself here.
Some combination of us have to go just to make her eat her words. All right, so.
Yeah.
And by the
Will
way-
your hubby cook? As I saw the chicken that he was cooking there.
There is a huge wall and metal gate.
You're safe with us.
Oh, no, I'm thinking depending on who comes and how long they want to stay, it might not open.
Very
No,
good. All right, folks.
In all seriousness, we do have room for people.
Very cool. They're just not telling you what the name of the town is or what airport you're
Yeah,
getting.
or where or anything.
Get
Yeah.
to Mexico and they'll sort it out. All right. Yeah.
Email me. I'll give you all the details.
All right, folks. This
And
is
the
this
name-
has
And
been
the
a
name
very-
of the donkey you ride from the airport to here.
Man.
I want to make some crack about asses, but we're going to move on.
Yeah, you're
All
right.
right.
Oh.
The meeting is clearly over. Thanks to see Shannon's already checked out. I mean, she's got her little sign up and the video's gone. So
I have to go get my kid from hockey. So
there you go. All right, folks. Once again, thank you for everything that you do. This was a very special meeting this evening. I'm glad we pressed ahead with it. And there was actually not only was it important to talk about Rob, but it was also very important that we had the opportunity to find out that there are some very cool things in the
Here,
work, even though we're stuck dealing with COVID. So I shall double my efforts to try and get something out of Eras for the next meeting. So we'll see
Awesome.
what. All right.
Stay
thank
well,
you,
everyone.
People, take
Yeah,
care.
take care. Nice seeing everybody.
Take care, guys.
All right.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Tina.
Bye.